So to start, what is FinTech Meetup? It was, as I said, a large conference, but it's financial technology companies getting together. So that could be banks, that could be companies like Stripe or PayPal. It can be security companies, AI companies, anyone that is moving money, dealing with money. It's the intersection of finance and technology, hence FinTech. And so, although we're in the CRM world, it was still relevant because a lot of you guys do manage your clients' money, right? And so I thought I'd go and check it out. And here are a couple really interesting trends. So the first one I would say is AI powered customer interactions. Now, you've heard AI to death, but it was really interesting. And there were actually some valuable interactions that they were talking about, namely on the onboarding experience. AI can really help onboard new clients. It can really help explain clients their portfolios. It can enhance your conversation with clients. They're actually dabbling a lot with not necessarily robo-advisors, but AI communicating with your clients when they have certain questions or at certain times of year. They also have AI tracking trends. So I thought that was really interesting, where when you have a client who may have a large data set or a lot of investments or a lot of history with certain investment firms, it can be really helpful for you just to get a quick overview of a lot of their data. And so that was one of the things that they were talking a lot about. The banks were there, the big ones, JP Morgan and Bank of America and all of that. And they were talking a lot about how they have AI analyzing their clients' data to spit out trends. And so obviously they have a lot of client data, but that was a really big theme. And I mean, all of these will tie back to, in a sense, where it's like you really need good databases. I mean, at the end of the day, what they kept talking about is without good data, this AI isn't going to work. It needs to be trained on something. And here's the reality. If the banks are doing it down south, we're eventually going to do it up here. And a lot of the banks are already dabbling with AI, and that's going to trickle down into dealers and investment shops. And so you need to be prepared. And the way they were pitching it was just kind of like an enhancement to what you do, right? And so it'll allow you to handle more clients better, faster. And so that's kind of a win for everyone, right? So that was one theme. The other theme was, I couldn't believe this, honestly, just the amount of fraud going on. Apparently started during the COVID era when people weren't going into branches anymore and stuff like that. And it was crazy. Like, they were talking about how people will fraudulently doctor a invoice for any transaction. And so they're bringing out all these tools now to actually track, okay, when an invoice comes from someone, has this PDF been edited? Does the address of the client and the routing number and the SIN number and all of that match who the client we think it actually is? And so this may not be directly relevant for you, maybe some of you fee-for-service guys and gals, but I think the main point here is the banks and the technology companies are really focused on making sure that you're paying the right people or getting paid from the right people. With AI, there is a lot of fraud. People are using AI to fraudulently sound like people, to fraudulently doctor things. And so you just have to be really careful. And the main thing I got out of this is find the right technology, find the right players that have security and compliance in their mandate. Because there's so much tech out there right now. It's moving so fast, and some people are taking shortcuts. And so just keep that in mind, that we're kind of in this funky era where just fraud and AI, like, we're in this era where we can't really trust if it's an AI or a human saying something or doing something. And so we just kind of need to ride this wave, find the right technology, make sure that it is tech forward and that they're pushing the limits with some of this stuff. Like, there was literally someone on stage that built an integration between Bank of America and their portfolio management tool, where when you needed to make a new transaction, it would actually go into the Bank of America, check that Jim was Jim, check that Jim's routing number and SIN or social security number was what it was supposed to be, come back into your system, check that as well, and give a green check mark before anything worked. And so that's an important thing. Now, the odds of your CRM and Bank of America both being hacked with the wrong information is quite low, especially the Bank of America. And so that is the type of stuff you have to look for when you're looking for this tech. And that's how deep people are going with this.